Sorry to pick you up, but this is kind of like, for me, a little bit of a boy's dream. Back in the day, watching MLG VOD on a Friday night in my pajamas, curled up, stealing my my dad's cat, so to speak, to be able to go on and watch it, but that's a different story altogether. Dave, we're back on the pit. Game 1 is underway. This is the winner bracket final.
Yeah, winner's bracket finals. I was interested to see what kind of start these players and teams would have going into pit 2v2, because obviously in 4v4, it was like you split up your resources. You sent someone to sniper, someone towards overshield, 1 or 2 towards rockets. But here it's quite interesting how they essentially sent 3 of the 4 players towards rocket and 1 towards OS.
So we've got Flamesword with Sniper, Roy with rockets on the opposing side, Fantasy Sniper Rifle of himself, just eyeing up Green Door. He's down on S1. Gabriel's actually pushing Long Haul on this side. Roy's getting probably prepared for this one, so we'll see how it does. Comes through. Oh, didn't have to go for the back whack, decided to go for the shots, but he does managed to shut him down instantly. Now to be aware of where Flamesword will be peeking up from. He gets the tag, doesn't get the kill. In fact, he does. He jumps up, but he needs to be aware of it. Snipes him off the back as well. They're pushing this one through. He manages to land the shot onto Flamesword. Yeah, and this is a tough situation. Fantasy losing that sniper. That's going to be both snipers now going in the hands of OpTic Gaming. It's going to be incredibly valuable here. One thing to notice also on the pit, you can actually garner some different information across the map when people are going through green or through Needler. So you notice on what people call the training, where Flamesword is currently, where Roy's teammate is, there's these little like target men that go up and down. And what a flank here from Fantasy, catching Roy off guard. But the one part I was going to bring up was here on pit, you'll see sometimes those little flaps go up where it's a little target person going up, and that means there's somebody within its vicinity. It says, you know, it's arguably about 20 meters or so. And so you can basically assume if someone spawned in Needler or if someone's close to green or on training before you even fully scope out the area. Quick scope goes in.
So there is that little brute.
So they're going to know exactly where they are. Again, you spoke about it perfectly, Dave, within the vicinity. Wastes the rocket, unfortunately. Was one shot. Flamesword goes down. Player pushing outside green. That rocket does hit the side. Does take a little bit of shield off. He's there to pick it up. Flamesword dips down low on S1. Doesn't realize his second player is actually with him, so he does pick up the kill. It is a bit of a trade-off there as he might give this one up. Roy spawns right next to him. OS will have popped 47. It's there. And he does pick it up, but he is flashing as well as he does that.
Yep, gonna get it while flashing, run away. So that one's gonna essentially be semi-burned. You essentially have to wait for your shields to come back in order for that to fully kick into effect in Halo 3.
Snipers have just come up, 2 players down on runway. Showdown goes down, finishes him off, picks him up. Second player's there to at least dip down. There's the communication between them both.
I like this greedy play from Roy. He wants to get over towards this snipe hut. It's such a strong position. One, you can get that sniper rifle. Secondly, when you get on top of that hut, there's really only one viable way they can take, and that's the back ramp, where they have filtered through a small area, especially when you have someone perched up on bridge.
You've no idea how satisfying it is here just watching Halo 3 sniper action. It's absolutely, truly incredible. Rocket should be up any second. Goes for the no-scope. He's all damaged. At least those grenades will have pushed him back there. Opts to go in for it. He gets the kill. He gets the aggression as well. Rocket comes flying out of nowhere, chases him down, hits the back wall. Sniper dead.
One thing that's such an interesting engagement where those players are at right now, where Flamesword and Roy were just located, is players started to come up with the most specific names possible once you got around those corners, because people were able to bob and weave and get away too often. So you'd hear people call it like over at cut, over at curb, over at box. And the way I kind of described it when we were going through it as a strategy, as a team, and as players was, you should be able to close your eyes and hear your teammates call outs and be able to picture exactly where that player is running from back and forth, so you can cut off players when they're in those tricky angles.
Fantasy knows he needs to be exactly very careful, as there are 2 players that are going to be directly in front of him. He saw where Flamesword came off the back over on the Needle side. OS should be up around 43, so you'd look to see both of them setting up for this one. Gabriel will be able to get an angle on it and where he is, Dave.
Yeah, and Fantasy is doing this right. Fantasy should be staying over here towards hut side. Obviously, you want to get that short lift where you can go on the lift, you can crouch, and you won't get as high going up that lift. But the main reason Fantasy wanted to stay there was so when a member of OpTic Gaming filtered through Snipe Courtyard, they wouldn't know which way to face. They wouldn't know, do they face towards Overshield, fight Gabriel, or do they face towards Court and fight Fantasy? So it would have put them in a tricky situation if Fantasy was able to stay alive.
Gabriel picks up the kill, picks up the second one as well. That's the OS burnt and gone, but it did its job. Ardent to pick up 2. His teammate will be taking his own battle of himself, sees the player coming just out.
And also knows that player is not going back closer towards Needler's side, because you didn't see that training figure go up.
Fight will ensure. Just come for his head there, Roy. Inside flag. Flame puts enough damage into him to find Roy to be able to pick that one up. So Sniper will drop up on S3, working together. Been allowed, I'm not entirely sure where his teammate will be spawning.
New Sniper should also be up, so I'm interested to see if Roy's going to drop down or is going to be content with this upper location while he still has a few bullets and almost nearly predict that one. Roy's just going to wait this one out. There's really not much he can do in this situation except for one player overexposing himself. He needs Flame Sword in order to secure one of these kills.
I mean, that was the whole point of holding Banana, right? He was just looking at the angle so he could try and see where we were going to go from. He called it perfectly. Sniper up. Bullet comes flying from the opposing side.
Grab that ammo. There it is.
Job done. Move back up. Take another peek. In fact, he's not. He's seeing if the push comes from driveway. Gotta be careful, man. These...
Yep, they're going to start going for some of those tricky angles. But now that Flame has a pick, I could see Roy getting a little aggressive. They may want to see what kind of play they can make to get the sniper out of their hands. They now know where it's located. However, Fantasy does not know where Roy is, and that's always the sniper advantage. The
thing is that OS is coming up at 43, and the fact that they have full control of this, they can just kind of hold this bit down. Rockets have just spawned, I'm hearing in the background. Flame's already there looking for him. There's the tag, there's the kill. Now he can run back, the backwack's there. Roy potentially can get the OS here.
He almost got the insta as well. So that's a term that I coined early in Halo 3 where you can actually place down one plasma grenade, and if you throw the second before the first explosion, it will explode that second plasma grenade and send it flying towards your opponent and instantly kill them if it's within the right vicinity.
Hyper aggressive with the Rockets. He does push forward onto their green and he falls. Gives up the Rockets. There's Flame. There's the drill from the floor.
There's a semi-insta right there, yeah. The first plasma's down there. The second one's explosion was what helped push that over the edge for the damage to finish off that partially over-shielded player.
Heavy sniper in the back of Gabriel. That's a lot of bullets and ammunition I saw on the side. Jumps off the back of the Banana. Rockets do go down, so that's a good trade-off, but look at all them goodies up on top of that yellow platform. You got Rockets, you got Snipe. Flame's going to be calling this one off. Gabriel's getting aggressive. He knows he's going to be spawning down there. The grenade may have done enough damage just to be able to give himself a little bit of breathing room, but they are still applying this pressure, Dave.
Yeah, and right now, Flame's in a really difficult position. He has to either isolate a one-on-one, which he does against Gabriel, or he had to have fought that player on training and then push back over towards Roy where his cover was at.
One rocket in the tube here for Roy. 4-kill deficit, but they only need 2.
He's not going to fall for that. That's Roy. He's gotten backsmacked there hundreds of times back in the day. It's not going to happen one more time on main stage.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he goes through green, and his end will be met. There's a rocket on the floor for himself. Grenade comes from the back of Flame Sword, avoids death just for all but a second. Gabriel and Fantasy, 15 and 10. They take game number 1 here in this best-of-3 winner bracket finals.
And that's a tough one when you get behind there in pit. It didn't feel like Roy and Flame were able to get much going as far as they would get a kill or two, but they weren't able to really secure any sort of lockdown. Like they weren't able to get a sniper on top of bridge or on top of opposing snipe hut to killing spawn kills over on Needler's side or towards Mauler's side or anything like that. But yeah, just very well played there from Fantasy and Gabriel.
I mean, it wasn't as if, the scoreline was completely eradicated and they fell totally behind. It was still a decent and close game, to be honest with you. But again, I mean, Fantasy and Gabriel, their aggression it's incredible. It's great to see. It's, this is kind of the players of old that we're talking about. When you're talking about this level, all right, we're seeing legends on one side, but on the other ones, it comes down to how much time you're putting into the game. If you're grinding it 24/7, Dave, this is, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. But also at the same time, too, you got to consider probably the majority of the time that you've had in Halo 3 is 4v4s for Roy and for Flame, obviously. They've done a decent amount of preparation in 2s for this, and they've done their own amount of 2s in the past. But yeah, obviously I would expect Fantasy and Gabriel to have more hours of 2v2 Halo 3 clocked in.
I think one of the harder things in 2v2 for Halo 3 in itself, it's the spawn system. Don't quote me on this, but I think it still uses the 4v4 spawn system, so you spawn very relatively close to your partner. And the amount of times you'll be shooting one and all of a sudden coming off the respawn, you have to fight another battle that comes from the ensuing side. Keeping control of it and keeping together rather than taking individual battles and running off on your own. Teamwork in 2v2 is absolutely godsend.
Yeah, I know a little bit of the spawn system in here. Actually, when I went back to school 4 years ago in my discrete structures math class, I won an award for doing a design or a rework on the Halo 3 spawn system using digraphs, using one of the things that we learned within our math class. And yeah, I basically talked about how you could have it unidirectionally affect spawn. So when someone would be in Mauler and die there, that would negatively affect the needler spawn, or whereas if, like this is the pit example, or when someone would die at needler, it wouldn't affect the Mauler spawn since someone wouldn't have an angle there. And yeah, I did a whole project on that, and I was happy I won an award on that when I was in school, so that's kind of cool.
Professor Walsh. I bet that's why you got your little thing on your wall now, have you? You up there, you framed it and everything. Big initial kill then coming off the back, wins the battle against Flamesword. This will be a relatively quieter, I'd say quieter one, probably a less aggressive one. Saying that, Gabriel fancies chances with his sniper, does step up. Down to no shields. Bullets keep on coming from blue, at least keep him tagged up, and here comes the aggression. Roy will probably get called out now. S3 does drop down. That should be a cleanup, but Roy's answering this one back. Nope. Two of them push top mid.
Those lights are deceivingly secure if you don't have those multiple angles. So that player got back down over on snipe side. A player in top center has a near equal fight against someone over on green side. The real crux or the real downside to being top center is you have so many angles against you. So here in twos, if you can eliminate one of those angles, you can just push across top center, across to green, and win that fight.
Roy having a fight of his own, finds one. The little bump jump should have come through, but unfortunately does not land it. They kind of caught each other off guard a little bit. If he's clever, unless Flame has took it, sniper rifle should be still down here. Flame might, oh actually it is. That's a pretty heavy loaded sniper as well. Fair amount of bullets. Goes for the shot on S2. Doesn't land it. Bullets and grenades are coming through. That's S3 patrol. You gotta be careful where this player's disappeared to now. Obviously he's run off elbow, but where's he gonna reappear? Both of them are there side by side. One's S1. There's the elbow as well, so you have to be careful of this push that might come from green.
Yeah, but they just got his first pick. They know this other player's over on elbow. Roy has him one shot, so I believe new snipe ship just came up as well, so this could be Flamesword acquiring a second snipe in a moment. I want to say that should have been come up fairly soon, so we'll have to find out where that was at.
But yeah, better catch him off guard here if they're running S1.
Yep. Roy has the flank, gets one body shot on Gabriel, and this is going to be a finish off. 8-4 lead here for Roy and Flames.
Now, the only reason that he got that is because he held his trigger for all but a second. He did have camo. He let them walk away. He finished fired that shot. They'd have known he's there. He waits for a second, then drops down, catches them off guard, facing away. Both of them down. Now, two snipers in the hands here. One with Flamesword, one with Roy.
Yeah, and Roy's is pretty much about gone. So right now, he's just going to have to try to support, or Flamesword's gonna have to try to support Roy over there, but he's not in much of a threat of losing that power weapon. And this is actually a really tough angle in many cases to support your teammate over on camo. It's more of their responsibility to not take as much damage as possible. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where that player is able to round the corner and just get that one-shot finish on you, which I felt like Roy maybe was just a little over-aggressive and didn't understand if both players were top gold, but that is all right. He is one of the best Halo 3 players, and he's allowed a mistake every now and then.
I mean, Christ, with Roy's raw. They say, oh, all right, Mike. Steps up when he gets requested for help, puts a bullet in him. We talk about Roy, potentially the greatest shot in Halo 3 of all time, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think that's too hard to argue against as far as like PR shot-wise.
Yeah.
Honestly, early on in Halo 3, I wasn't aware of how good his shot was until I teamed with him, to be honest. Right after we had the big final boss split, Roy and Lunch and Instinct called me and they're like, we want you on the team. And I was like, I'm not sure. Like, I want to, maybe explore options. Like, honestly, you should team with us. We're really good. And they talked me into it, and I ended up teaming with Roy, Lunch, and brought Soviet on the squad because I saw a lot of promise in him. And we had an incredible run that season. I mean, we had a couple second place finishes, a third place or so. I don't recall all the finishes. We didn't have any victories, which would have been great, but regardless, I remember doing some warm-ups against Roy and having this feeling, I was like, all right, he 4 shots every time, and he gets the first shot off faster than me. How do I beat something like that? Like I would even try jumping, try doing anything I can to dodge every single time. It's just like, he hits every shot, and it's just insane.
Come on then, Dave. Who's your favorite twins that you've teamed with?
Who's the favorite twins? I mean, I would say...
Let's get nostalgic here.
You can't take anything away from Team of the Ogres. I mean, we teamed for something like 4 or 5 years, I think, from 2004 to 2008, something like that. So it was, we had a lot of great years together. Yep, I mean, you can't, that's something we'll remember forever. But, I would say I'm a bit closer when it comes to, like, friend-wise now with, like, Roy and Lunch. They're just such great people. Both sets of wins are great people, so.
So you dodged the question, okay.
Oh, absolutely dodged it, man.
What a cop-out. Fresh snipers up. Gabriel will reload his ammo at least, be able to get a heavy snipe. No scope beat down. Easy kill for him. Grenades are obviously going to come from bottom mid S1.
There's an insta attempt. Yeah. Insta attempt. Instas were my favorite thing to come out of Halo 3. Like, it was one of the most incredible feelings to just deflect those nades off each other, hit someone around the corner. I literally would go in some MLG matchmaking level 50 games without shooting and, you know, still rack up like double-digit kills just throwing plasma grenades and still winning those team games as not shooting. Plasma grenades were severely underrated, I would say, at even a top-level play. And I wouldn't be surprised to see even Roy hit a few of them this series, because if we do game 3, it's going to be Heretic, and that's going to be starting plasma grenades.
Can we just appreciate how he actually kind of read that one like a book? He knew the player might try and do the jump down to S1. Unfortunately, missed it and didn't land it, so he fell off. But the Mauler was already there, and he was ready to receive that battle if he had to. Flamesword now has to take a battle of his own over by Camo. He's going to bait this one just for a second. Gets the beat down. Snipe comes through.
Oopsie.
Roy hit him then?
Yeah, I believe Roy hit him by accident. And that's a tough one. I mean, based on that situation with their Flame, I think was clearly trying to just get that melee as fast as possible, get the back smack so the player didn't get the camo. In retrospect, there's obviously a couple other options where it's like, all right, just go for the 2-shot beat down and guarantee the kill, or get to the camo a little faster. But that's all in retrospect. I mean, I think his mind was in the right spot. He was baiting the camo. He went for that play, and it just didn't work out. Oh well.
Camo delayed for a second as he does.
He threw that grenade, gave away his position. Now he needs to jump up on this ledge, or needs to jump to front snipe too. I feel like he's kind of leaving himself vulnerable, just going that same angle.
2 players versus 1. Easy kill there. Again, kind of what you said, Davey. I mean, he wandered around green, which gave him time a little bit, and they didn't realize where he was, but he gave away position with that grenade as he did approach up elbow. Roy now gets given a sniper rifle. Let's see what else he can do with this.
And here's, like, once again, the traditional setup when you're on snipe side is you're going to hold snipe and you're going to hold green. Reason being is anyone pushing out from blue or from top gold, they're going to get collapsed on from multiple angles. Like I said before, the reason that green is even powerful is because you have that second angle from snipe. Now expect these players to jump towards top center. He lost all the power of green because there's no longer a player at snipe, and here they come. Gabriel can just jump out in top center with no fear.
I mean, it's a textbook stat. We're almost going to say, got a nice setup here, having won a green over at snipe, but it all relies on Flamesword staying alive. From the back of that, grenade goes down. We'll see if he can get this kill. You'd expect that player now to be moving from S3. He's getting ready for it. He does get the grenade kill, which is fantastic. Now they're back in this position, but where the hell is that sniper?
They saw it early at green, so right here, it just looks like they're going to collapse from top center and from snipe side. And look at that, just Spidey sense coming out of Flamesword. He realized that Gabriel was the spawner, coming out from green and pushing elbow side. A player would not push elbow side unless they had some secondary angle to come from. So he knew that Fantasy had escaped since he still didn't see Fantasy, so he knew a flank had to be about. Especially in 2v2, just being aware of who you killed last, and when you see that player or where you see them, it gives you a decent indication of where his teammate might be coming from, or more where they might have gone to.
Almost a fresh camo here with Roy. Sniper did go off the map and hearing in my headphones. We'll look for the next respawn to be coming up very soon. 21-16. 4 more kills here to push this game number 3. Roy still patrolling Flamesword bang opposite side. They can watch bottom mid. I didn't realize that both of these players are in blue now. The issue is
they're waiting out this camo. They realize
they have to make both the pushes here, don't they?
Yeah, they have to make the pushes, but at this point, like, you don't want to go 10 or 20 seconds early. Obviously you have to make pushes at some point, so make them a higher percentage push. No reason to put yourself one more kill in the hole, so they wait a little bit longer. Roy has these dual plasma grenades, so we can see if he is going to try to go for any sort of instant smoke. Gets around the corner, gets the Mauler, and doesn't get the Mauler melee trade. That's a huge mistake.
It's so triggering when you just that little bit away from being able to get the reach, because sometimes you get a nice bit of a lunge on them when you go around with that, but if you go too early, the player just backs up and just gives you a back whack of his own.
Yep, and that was always one of those great parts of close range battle in Halo 3, was you had these little dances. Sure, you had some lunges and maybe some unfortunate ones that would happen more so online, but going in for that fake stutter step, like you're going for that first melee, and just taking a step back and seeing that person T-Rex arm at you as they try to melee. There's always those little mind games as you knew the ranges of the melee lunges.
It's all the little nuances of the game, and again, if you've just been able to grind this one out back in the day, you know exactly what you could do with these weapons.
Yeah, because the player movement speed was also at a speed where you actually had time to react to it, or they didn't have the get out of jail free card where they could like thrust and get the melee on you. So that's what kind of allowed those close range footsie dances, if you want to call it that.
It's always been amazing how on this map what damage the Mauler actually does, been able to break snipe set up time and time again. If you can bait people out or at least take away their attention and then get someone just running in with that Mauler, been able to just Mauler beat down people and insta them left, right and center. 2-kill game here, sniper rifle, Mauler in the hands of Fantasy. We have Gabriel on the opposing side, who actually cleans up Roy, takes it to a 1-kill game.
And made Roy burn the camo as well, so I think Roy was maybe thinking that Ken was free, or maybe ducking his head to try to avoid getting sniped and didn't realize the player was already there. So yeah, Roy burning the camo though, so there's a little bit of a silver lining, but not much.
Can't really push Fantasy unless they catch him off guard.
Ooh, and Flamesword's gonna get picked. Now it's just gonna be a 1-on-2 with Roy. I don't know where Roy is at. Roy is actually pushing towards Snipe side and gave away his position, so I think that's why Fancy has run away. Fancy, however, runs into Roy, gets the no-scope, and gets Roy to one shot. Gabriel trying to desperately finish that shot, and it looks like he was getting flanked over by Flamesword, so if Flamesword can pick up that one. Oh, that is a big mistake. Roy was crouch walking as he went across the lift. You will sometimes miss that lift like that.
Oh my God.
You don't want to do that here on main stage, especially when you're up by 1. But luckily, he makes up for it with a grenade.
Oh,
30 seconds. They're going to hunker down. They have to just hold a strong position. They know one player is here on this blue ramp. I would love to see them collapse on that, especially since they know the player's coming up.
That is going to be good.
That is a huge grenade. Flame is in some trouble. He just buys some time. Gonna duck over into here. The other thing I saw decent about getting over into the shotgun. Double sticky to win it.
Double stick! Oh my God!
Roy just windmilling his arm. Oh my God, I was just gonna say, there actually is some validity to dropping down in that shotgun tunnel, even when they know you're going there, because you do fall onto 2 plasma grenades, and you have just a small little narrow tunnel where you can insta somebody, or if you're Roy and Flamesword, you can both get a stick simultaneously.
You can't write that. What? Literally, they must have just suicide sticky both planes and thought, you know what, if we're going out, you're coming with us, boys, and that's it. What the hell? What a... Okay, game 3. We're going into it.
It's going to be on Heretic, and this was one of my favorites when this released in Halo 3 because of the plasma grenade start. I knew of Insta-Explodes earlier on, but it wasn't as viable. 1, because you couldn't practice it nearly as much, and 2, just you didn't really have as many options on the map. There was limited spots where you could pick up 2 plasma grenades and lay those grenades down and use them usefully. Whereas when this update came out, or this DLC map came out, Heretic, which is a remake of Midship, you start with plasma grenades, and you can just do some dirty, dirty work with plasma grenades on this. So expect players, when they're both pushed up towards pink, to lay down 1 grenade on the side of the street and send the other launching into pink 2.
25 to 20 Pit, 25 to 23 Guardian, and we fall on Heretic. This is the final map. This will send one of these 2 teams to the grand finals, all the way to game number 3. This is exactly how we want it. And Heretic, obviously remake of Midship, the most iconic and potentially greatest map of all time. I mean, I've spent too many hours playing Tour de Walsh, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've spent I don't know how many thousands of hours on Midship and Heretic.
It's set a staple for so many people's lives, and everybody knows this.
Oh my God, what a finish. I can't believe they got those angles and those shots all the way across map. That was always one thing that registration within Halo 3, you didn't do nearly as much long range with like BR. But obviously, these guys have mastered their shots over some of these years, or using some of this new MCC registration.
Yeah, it's very rare you see that straight off the spawn. Usually they kind of dip and tiptoe back and forth. But I mean, it's possible if you can both kind of light up one individual player and hit every single bullet, then you are going to get it, which of course they did.
Oh, he was getting ready for Insta there. Yeah. That's the first grenade he lays down. So in order to do an Insta-Explode, like I said before, it requires 2 plasma grenades. 1, you lay on, you throw against the side wall, so it has a little bit of time to fall, which gives you time for your grenade animation to finish up so you can throw the second grenade fast. But either way, you throw 1 on the side wall, and then you send the other one timed with its explosion, and it explodes the second plasma grenade after it travels a set duration.
Both players unfortunately get split. Flame runs into 2 of them. Single-handedly gets taken down in P2. You can hear the grenades in the background, so they clearly have some sort of idea where they may potentially be underneath the base. Roy, again.
He's setting up the Insta.
Yep.
And there it was. So if Fancy was just a little bit closer, would have gotten killed by the Insta. However, Fancy, I'm sure, is no stranger to these Insta-Explodes, having played MCC Halo 3 quite a bit.
P3 control in 2v2, Dave. How imperative is it compared to 4v4?
It's tough to say. I don't think it's as powerful as in 4v4, just because you are giving away the position of half a team, and at some point, if players can poke out, you can be a bit more sneaky and a bit more selfish about your positions in 2v2s compared to 4v4s. So 4v4, when you're up there and you're taking damage from a couple players laying down the shots, it's really gonna be capitalized on. Whereas when you start taking some damage, you can usually get away because you probably have a better idea of your team's map presence.
Flame's getting a bit aggressive, unfortunately getting punished for it as well. Dips up top mid, can't run away from that one, he's down. He has respawned though, 6-4, still 2 kill games, or at least answering some of these easy deaths back. Roy comes from death from above. A rise from P3, but Flame's not there to kind of finish this one off. There was no real support, so I don't know where he is.
Flame has the dust screen and probably knows exactly where Gabriel is.
He must be under
he has the
base,
element of surprise, but yeah, we do not know exactly where Flame went in position. Actually, Flame went all the way towards car side, so maybe kind of a miscommunication from Flame and Roy as far as where they're going to push or how they're going to support each other, or maybe Flame just bailed and was not in position as soon as Roy died.
Flame can't too. Probably doesn't know the information just yet where they're going to be unless you want to see someone.
Well, he's locking down all of red right there. Just looking over that side, he knows nobody is pushed towards car side red, so Roy can freely push over towards car side red. And now Flame knows he has some sort of sneak. He has to know that, having gotten over there.
Still taking a lot of damage though. Roy
taking advantage.
Yeah, clearly needs to give him the... Oh, and he gets him as well. You ain't hiding nowhere, my friend. Backs it off the floor, gets the kill. Now will follow through, try and roll the nade, see if he can hit the damage. Checking over here, P3. I've heard the plasma grenade goes down, so maybe he knows that they're opposing on the opposing side, which they are. That should be a very easy goal. A very easy kill, but unfortunately it ends up being a trade.
Yeah, sometimes too, when a player hits you and they hit like their ankles and kind of get pushed away from geometry where you can't get that melee again, you get back to having to hit those shots again, and somehow Roy keeping his shot so steady there.
Roy's going to get called out. He'll get pushed as well, but unfortunately Gabriel doesn't see where he is.
And that's why being up in the open at Pink 3 sometimes can be a detriment, obviously, especially when you don't see Roy up there, but more so that they can get you weak and then they can take up some more ground in 2v2s. Look at Flamesword just doing that front jump, taking some ground, and they still know this player is at bottom right.
Yeah, he just gets the call and he decides to help him out. Beautiful position here from Flamesword. Both of these kills that he's just picked up is all because of Roy.
Gabriel's position free again. He had a couple shots across the map, and you know, if Roy has a 1 or 2 shot lead, he's already tough enough to beat when you're even in shots with him. If he has a lead on you, it's over.
Lead indeed. P3 shots. Aggression there. Look at that screen watching straight across. Where are you looking? What's going on, Flame? Bullets last looking out the matrix, just flying past on the screen. Gabriel doesn't know. Roy's dipped down low from P3 to P1. Finds P2 as well. Fantasy steps up to the challenge. Unfortunately, will be put back in his place. Flame does get stuck, but still a great trade.
Yeah. Fantasy played that correct to realize that even if he got a couple shots or a melee into Flame would have just hidden, so he had to go for a sticky grenade play there. That is semi one of the frustrations there on midi in 2s, I can think especially, where players are more incentivized to just go for those sticky trades, just because it's either that or your team's not going to kill or that player's going to get the shield back. Whereas in 4s, your damage that you output can be more likely to be capitalized on, or putting that player out of commission for those 3 or 4 seconds while they need to wait for their shields to get back is enough of an advantage to warrant you just shooting or meleeing a player.
Roy moving. Will be up on bubble. Grenades come down, Flames there as well, so needs to be careful here that the 2 individual players don't attack him, which they do, but the trade's at least live. Flame's got his shields back. You've just seen him flashing. Carbine goes in. Both of them spawning car. One's already moved there. Needs to be careful that he doesn't drop down through bubble. Roy's on his own now, taking quite a fair amount of damage. 2 players are going to be pushing, so at least be able to drill him as he does come out of the car area.
As long as Flame's watching the front of the base, Roy is safe, and it looks like they are coordinating that just fine. He's saying, all right, you watching my back on level 2 of the base, or am I watching front? So they're distributing which areas they need to watch.
Well, they know where one player is, but it's the second one they need to find. Cops reset over on opposing car. Gabriel does come into the base finally. I'm not entirely sure where the second player is. Roy will push him back. I like the pressure. You keep seeing Flaming just checking his back.
Although Roy seems safe there, that is a pretty easy spot to insta-explode if you know what you're doing. So I think Roy is going to bail out of that Eli ledge a little bit. And it looks like he gets right up close, has the shot advantage on Gabriel, and now he knows the second help is going to help come out from over at Red 2 at Carbine side. Looks like Flames able to get that first finish, almost gets the second on Fantasy, and just going to have to reload and restart at square one because that player has his shields back.
But his teammate will spawn next to him, so now they can move together as a unit.
Gotta be in glass or under the base? I don't know where Fantasy is.
So. Eyes up in bubble.
Looks like he ran away towards bubble.
One player on the opposing base does drop down, follows it through. There's some great shots. Doesn't actually find a kill. Grenade goes down, pre-empts the oncoming onslaught.
This is trouble.
2 players come through. They don't know where he is, but he is no shield, and now it's a 1-kill game.
That was a really good job by Fantasy in the front of the base to just poke in and lay down some shots to keep their shields down. Didn't need to go in and complete the kills right then and there, but yep, right there's that incentivization and turn and stick that. Also, not too risky of a play, to be honest, when you're right next to some player like that. So obviously, as soon as that player didn't get the back smack, I think they need to go straight for that 2-shot melee or just commit to that back smack if they're already there, like take a couple steps back.
I mean, fair play, just give him a blue screen to death, so at least he got the trade off. 4:45 on the clock. Still, even Steven. 1-kill game here. Gabriel moving up through toilet and bubble, over to Carbine. You see Sword in its all its glory top mid, but in Halo 3 it's not the best of weapons compared to how powerful it used to be in Halo 2. So
yeah, Halo 2 Sword is a completely different ballpark. So,
Halo on this, just Sword and Nuke combo was just a joke.
Yep, significantly different here in Halo 3 compared to Halo 2. Flamesword doing a great job with that damage there under the base. I could see Roy contemplating dropping down, trying to get that fight. And what a front jump there from Gabriel, just flying right in. Flame's going to get this finish though, and that's going to be a huge, huge trade.
I mean, get straight stuck in and clean it up, why not? Exactly what he does. They'll still keep this lead. Playing off the back of bubble while one player does drop down below, he can at least now give the information to where these two players are. P Street will move into base, and he's watching all of his angles. Gabriel's there. He kind of preempts it, but he now needs to be careful of window. That grenade will force them out. He might even give, that grenade might give Roy the angle that he needs to get some shots down.
Yep, Flame just trying to buy some time. Unfortunately, still does not have his plasma grenade. Plasma grenade, when you're in bubble, is such a strong nade to have, because as soon as a player tries to jump up on you, you can just, throw that right above the toilet and kill somebody.
Thought he might take window, instead he just pushes on through. Gabriel answers back. Go careful, Roy. You gotta be careful of these grenades. It's what he's listening for now, and he's what stream watching as well. Just being very, very cautious. Gabriel still hard scoping it, being prepared for what's going to come. You'd expect this second player to be on P Street. That's where he is. Now I'll run back to base. Well, in fact, dips down to P1. That's rather unorthodox and not what I expected. Roy, strong sides out of there. Sticks his head down, but that pressure, that push is good. And it ties up the score 18-18.
I feel like Roy was trying to avoid that angle, but that's also a little tough if he's not able to just get that 4-shot right away if someone's going over towards the red side car. Roy's going to charge right in, get that finish, and still going to be that 1-kill lead that OpTic have been holding majority of this game.
Pre-nades go down, hoping someone steps on a landmine, but no one's pushing just yet on their own. Flamesword goes down. Where was that? That was over on car 2, potentially. Now he sees them spawning car 3. Second play is there. Looking at the base, he spawned as well.
Look at Roy in your player cam, how much comfortability he has on this game and awareness. He just realizes, here's the situation, I can do a quick scan of my screen, know where the players are at, and know the times that he can look at Flamesword's screen, especially when Flamesword's on death screen, to realize how close are you to, how close is this player to me, or what's their exact location. Because he's able to just basically do that math in his head where he's like, all right, if the player's over on this exact position on the car, I know I can make it over here just in time, or I know I'll meet this player no later than this position. So he can do a bit better of an assessment instead of just kind of blindly saying, oh, there's a guy in mid-car. Well, where exactly in mid-car? So that's why you'll see Roy and Flame glaring over each other's screens. They're getting that little extra information, and they're not doing it obviously when they're in the middle of a gunfight. They're doing it at times when they know they have a little breather. They know when it's either when their teammate is dead and they have a death screen on one or both players, or in the middle of running away. Like, you notice how Flamesword backed down there for a moment, knew he wasn't going to challenge, so he had a moment to glance over at Roy's screen and see how things were going on that side of the map. That's the level of awareness that these top players have.
He's chasing this kill down, but he needs to be careful because that player will be spawning in the vicinity. Finds him bottom mid, double stick back up, that's fine. Trade for trade, GG.
And Flame also tried to do an insta over towards car 2 off of the stuck nade on himself. So that is one like super kind of meta level thing you can do, is there's times where if you get stuck by a plasma grenade and you're not right next to somebody, you can wait a split second, time with the grenade that's exploding on you, and insta somebody with that blue fireball.
Flame gets out of the base and runs through P2. Needs to be very careful. Obviously, car side up on P3, but he's going to be in the open. Good shots will force Gabriel back, and that's fair play.
Remaining.
Still hanging around P2. Where's Roy at?
Right now, both these players are just trying to look for information. You'll notice how both Fantasy and Gabriel kind of looking across saying, like, where are these guys? Like, because once they know where they're at, then they can kind of formulate their attack. When they're going into unknown territory, it's a bit scarier.
23-23, we're all tied up. 42 seconds remaining on the clock. Battle going up at P2. Fantasy sticks his head in, wants to get involved. Flamesword gets pushed out. Roy's down the bottom. Has to be careful now. 1-kill game. They have the lead. 2 players pushing in. They fancy this one. They're looking for Roy. Roy's there. Gets it. Gabriel and Fantasy are going to the grand finals.
Some close games right there.
Wow. Classic Halo is an absolute majestic beast to watch. Halo 3 is just, and on MCC, obviously, you know, 343 have worked hard. They've patches, fixes, 60 hertz. It runs and looks like an absolute dream.